I kind of wanted to bring these contracts up because Eugenio Suarez just signed with the Reds for $15 million. And I'm not saying that emphatically because I think that's expensive, because the dude hit 49 homers last year. That's what 49 homers gets you. I mean, of course, there's more to baseball than just hitting bombs. But I mean, let's look at the numbers here. Let's look at the numbers. And it's not like he's falling off year to year. There might be another sign that he's falling off in a different way, in a different micro sample, but it could just be certain circumstances. Because what did he do last year? 3.6 B-WAR, 49 homers, 228 batting average, which, I mean, if you hit 49 bombs, who cares about a 228 batting average, in my opinion? Sub 300 on base percentage, which is kind of, it's meh. It's not good. Although, of course, like I just said, 49 homers. Slugging percentage 526. OPS was 824. Now, that when you see a guy hitting 49 homers, you would think the OPS would be a little bit bigger. It's being weighed down by that low on base percentage. OPS plus 126. However, it is not like he has been going down year to year. Let's go look at the numbers. Seattle in 2023, horrible year by his standards. 22 homers, 2.4 B-WAR, 214 strikeouts, led the league with a 232 average, 323 on base, which is kind of crazy that his on base was a good amount higher that year than this year, but only a 391 slug. So you got to put the full picture together. 714 OPS, which is barely above league average this year with an OPS plus of 103. It seems like he just doesn't play well in Seattle, which I'll bring up again here in a second. Arizona last year, a much better year, 115 OPS plus. I know I'm going through the stats in reverse. 788 OPS. On base was about the same, 319. Slugging was a lot higher, about 80 points higher, 469, 256 batting average. He cut like 40 strikeouts off, which is fantastic. Walked a lot less, but he hit more homers, 30 homers. He stays with Arizona 2025. And in 387 at bats, I'm sorry, which is almost 200 less at bats than in 2024 with Arizona. He hit 6 more homers, 36 homers before the trade deadline, 87 RBI. He was hitting 248, 320 on base, 576 slug for an almost 900 OPS in Arizona last year. Age 33 season, OPS plus during that time 142. However, he goes to Seattle, where everything just kind of falls off a cliff except for the power. I mean, even the power it's hard to say it falls off when you still hit 13 homers and 201 at bats, but everything else just falls off. He had 201 at bats in the second half of last year with Seattle, 79 strikeouts. That's pretty much just a 40% strikeout rate, which is definitely not sustainable. I just don't think he sees the ball well in Seattle. 13 home runs still, 31 RBI, 17 walks, which is, I mean, that's a better walk percentage than it was in Arizona, but I mean, he was probably struggling to hit. I mean, 189 average with Seattle last year, 682 OPS, 94 OPS plus. So I think that definitely tanked his market a little bit, but there are two sides to just kind of talk about there. Is it because he was in Seattle where historically he just hasn't played well? Or was it because he was kind of falling off or so? I mean, he's getting a little bit older. This is going to be his age 34 season. So maybe he's just kind of a little bit worn down as the season goes on. However, you could argue that that's not the case because he did perform a little bit better in the playoffs. 18 strikeouts and 47 at bats, though, around the similar strikeout percentage, but OPS is 700. 3 homers in the postseason, 8 RBI. I mean, you take 3 homers in the postseason, especially most guys don't hit 3 homers, especially if they play all postseason, World Series included. They didn't make it to the World Series, obviously, but he was a big help in almost getting Seattle to the World Series. But I think Eugenio Suarez is going to be a great fit in Cincinnati because it's familiar to him. He's always done very, very well in Cincinnati, and let's take a look at what he's done in Cincinnati. I mean, this was when he first was coming up. He's also has a 49 homer season under his belt there. He got MVP votes in Cincinnati. He was an all-star in Cincinnati. And I mean, it's just going to be familiar to him. And I also don't think he's going to have to worry about fielding, where he wasn't a very good fielder last year. 9th percentile and outs above average, arm strength, whatever, 39th percentile sprint speed, whatever. But I think he's going to end up being a DH for Cincinnati, which is going to be fantastic for him, I think. I mean, there's always going to be the dudes that are, it's going to be a little bit tougher to get used to that mode, used to playing the field all the time. It's kind of hard just to come off the bench for 4 at bats, kind of cold. But maybe he's one of those dudes that embrace it. You never know. You never really know. Or I don't know. I don't know. But I think this is going to make the Reds kind of competitive, or somewhat kind of competitive, somewhat competitive. They mean the same thing. Why would I say that? But this kind of makes their lineup a little bit deeper. And I kind of like what the Reds have going on. I mean, you got a couple dudes out there who are young, who are exciting. I think Ellie De La Cruz, hopefully he takes a step forward. It feels like he's been in the league forever, yet he just turned 24. He got Noah V. Marte, who put up a 101 WRC plus last year. He kind of learned a new position on the fly, learning right field on the fly. That's kind of wild, actually, learning right field on the fly. Let's go to Baseball Reference to get a clearer look at what they did as a team, as a group. They finished 83 and 79. I mean, 3rd place in the NL Central. I mean, I've always said the AL Central it's a crapshoot. Anyone can win the AL Central. I used to say that about the NL Central, but I think right now the Cubs and the Brewers are definitely the team to beat. I think the Reds could be a sneaky competitive team in that division. I don't know if they can really challenge the Cubs for what they did in the offseason. And the Brewers, I mean, they never have big off seasons. They just keep replenishing. I mean, they traded away Freddie Peralta this year. So some people might say that's just bad for them and they're not going to compete. However, they did the same thing with Corbin Burns a couple years ago, and then they won the division, or they traded Corbin Burns or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. They traded him in 2023, and then in 2024 they won the division, or at least made the playoffs, or at least were competitive. My memory's a little bit fuzzy. Correct me down in the comments. But you got Friedel, Marte, Ellie De La Cruz. Friedel and Marte had kind of strong seasons, or at least average seasons. You got a Friedel 261 average, 742 OPS. Noah V. Marte in kind of limited appearances, 99 OPS plus, 748 OPS. This is park adjusted, so the OPS plus is a little bit lower when you have an OPS of around 750 or a little bit higher OPS, if that makes sense. Matt McLain had a pretty poor year. Spencer Steer had like an average year. I think it's safe to say that a lot of these guys underperformed for where everyone thought they were going to perform. Spencer Steer's had some good seasons. Matt McLain has had one good season, and they're still young. Spencer Steer, Matt McLain, a little bit younger. Ellie De La Cruz, he's going to be 24 for the whole year. Marte, young. They don't have Gavin Lux anymore, so they definitely do need some help performing offensively. So I do think this can be a good lineup. Sal Stewart coming up in a small sample size, he was nuts. They did get JJ Bleday, who we've seen a little bit, a small sample size of success with the bat in Oakland in 2024. And, you know, they got some guys who have had flashes of brilliance. Okay, Brian Hayes is amazing at third base in the field. I think he did a little bit better with the Reds when he went over there after the trade, but I do think Eugenio Suarez is going to make this lineup a lot better. They needed a thumper in the middle of the lineup besides Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie De La Cruz also just kind of fell off in the second half. What did he do? Have 2 homers through June and July or something like that, and he's going to get better. I think he's going to get better. Sal Stewart could be that guy. He's been one of the best hitters in the minors the last year, and in the small sample size that he did play was really promising. 121 OPS plus in 55 at bats, and I am honestly stoked for him just myself, because he's on my fantasy baseball team and I have a dynasty league, which is neither here nor there. But looking at his baseball savant page, I am very excited of what he could potentially do. And this would be a very big help for that Reds lineup. I mean, look at that red in the first 6 categories or so. And he's 22 years old. He's been the #1 prospect for the Reds this past year, 31 overall. And what did he do last year in the minors? I mean, I would hate to rely so much on just a prospect, a rookie, if you will, to really depend on making your lineup lengthy, if that makes sense. What did he do last year in the minors? Show non-major. Let me see the non-major portion of his baseball reference page. What did he do last year across AAA and AA? He hit 309 with a 383 on base and a 524 slug for an OPS of 907. 20 homers, 80 RBI. He stole 17 bags. He doesn't seem like a speedy dude right off the rip, in my opinion. But you look at 437 at bats and he only struck out 77 times. That's a very promising just overall hitter, overall masher. You see the on base about 70 points higher than the batting average. I like that. I like a guy who takes his walks, and it's going to be his age 22 season. However, I want to try to look at it with a little bit of what is it? Delayed or skeptic optimism. Jeez, what is wrong with me? But I do think this lineup has potential. And when you look at the rotation, I mean, their rotation is pretty good, pretty underrated. I don't think enough people talk about the rotation. Hunter Green could be one of the best pitchers in baseball. Only 19 starts last year, but we've seen him just kind of pop off in years before. He's only 26 and a half years old. God, I hate saying half. What's it going to be, his age 27 season? Or no, it's going to be his age 26 season. Andrew Abbott, same thing. Workhorse last year. And it's tough to post an ERA under 3 in Great American Ballpark, but he did it in 29 starts. Brady Singer, an acquisition that they got from the Royals in a trade before last season started. Fantastic, or not fantastic year, but good year. Then Nick Lodolo, who's quietly been a really good lefty, and I quotes quietly in my opinion. I don't think we see enough people talk about him. Then Chase Burns, who is a flamethrower, who has unlimited potential. He's going to be 23 this whole year. He, in 43 and a third innings pitched, he threw almost to a 14 K per 9 rate. Did get in trouble with walks a little bit, but this has the makings of a very good rotation if everyone stays healthy. If you get 27, 28 starts out of Hunter Green, I mean, he's going to get Cy Young votes, in my opinion. Did Andrew Abbott get Cy Young votes? I feel like he did. Let's go take a look at the what the survey says. Survey says, I mean, I love Family Feud, by the way. It's awesome. He did get Cy Young votes. Finished 8th and was an all-star. 5.6 B WAR. So I am very excited about this Reds club, and I do think that Eugenio Suarez really helps. I mean, he could hit 50 homers in Cincinnati. I'm kind of curious now. What do the numbers say? What would he have hit at Cincinnati alone? Expected home runs by park. That's what I'm trying to say. It says 54 for last year. 54 for last year, which is not a fluke. I mean, you go look at this, and I guess this is the average across parks. I mean, it's low on your screen. 52 homers on average. His expected home runs by park, the amount of stadiums he would have hit 50. I'm gonna list them off. Toronto, the White Sox, which is crazy. The Twins, the Astros, Athletics, Mariners, which is interesting to me. Braves, Phillies, Mets, the Reds, Brewers, and the Rockies, and the Dodgers Stadium. All those stadiums, all those teams. If he would have played all of his games at all those stadiums, 50 plus. That's nutty to me. And I know homers aren't the only thing. Blah blah blah. They help a lot. One of the first things people look at through a stat line is how many homers they hit. I mean, some of the first things I'm starting to look at is OPS and OPS plus, but homers is right up there. How much damage are you doing? I wish they could combine. I mean, you can do the math yourself. This would be a small quality of life update, but I wish there was a stat on the line that just said extra base hits. I would absolutely love that.